Hey folks, it's your buddy and pal Karnik, Serenity Wargaming and Explanations. We're getting down to some of the last few videos, and then I'll have covered all of the Star Wars Armada content. There's only a few upgrade cards left. There's some squadrons I need to review, and then yeah, that's it. Today, we're going to be looking at Invincible, and this is a very straightforward, this is not going to be a long video at all, but like everything, I always make sure I'm going through the process, covering everything. So let's get into it. Invincible. It is a title for the Providences, for the Separatists. How can you tell? The big old Providence up there. Bottom left hand corner, you're going to see the Providence ship icon. The opposite corner on the right hand side for my screen is you're going to see the Separatist icon. And you're going to see it's 5 points. Totally worth it for 5 points. Great title for 5 points. Oh my gosh, the value of this card. So Invincible, fortunately, if you look in front of its name, you're going to see a little dot or bullet point signifies it is unique. You can only ever have one Invincible, but that's pretty much usually all you need. Very, like I always do, I'm just going to read through the card, give the short answer, and then we'll dive into some other things about the upgrade card, and then talk about where you can excel with this upgrade or fleet ideas. Okay, you gain one additional defensive retrofit icon in your upgrade bar, and that's 5 points, and it's amazing. So it works almost essentially exactly how Minister Tua does for the Empire, except instead of sucking up an officer slot, it's a ship title, and you just slap that on anything you want. And considering the other titles that are available, which you got Invisible Hand, which is too expensive for what it does, and again you got Lucid Voice, which is too expensive for what it does. You've got a very cheap defensive alternative, which is 5 points, which is very reasonable for what it does, and allows you to essentially if you're looking at bringing the Providence class dreadnought and you're like, oh man, it doesn't have a defense retrofit on it, guess I can't take it. This solves that issue for 5 points. You consider the Providence class dreadnought a cost of 110 points, and you get the defensive retrofit with it, and like there is no that allows you to bring that, is what happens there. Between the two, there's still a case for even slapping that title on the carrier version, because if you thought one defensive retrofit upgrade was great, why not two? Because you can bring ECM, which is one of the best cards for saving damage in the game. Compare that with thermal shields, and you have the ability to just kind of just tell things that are shooting at you to go away if they are throwing large dice pools. Now, it's still a large ship which suffers from, if lots of things are pewing away at it, it is still going to eventually blow up. Nothing survives being shot at multiple times. But if it's somebody's got like onagers on the board, or a superstar destroyer, or a starhawk, or some kind of big brawler unit like a Kuat or an MC-75, or even like Patriot Fist, if it's something that has like this huge dice pool that it wants to start with, you can decide like, for this situation, I'm going to use thermal shields and take away this massive dice pool from them, from 8 dice down to 4, because maybe they don't have a whole lot of add dice capabilities. Or it's like, it's a small pool, but they're going to ramp up in how much dice they're going to add, or even it's only like 4 or 5 dice, they're going to ramp up in how much dice they're going to add. I will not use thermal shields to be able to use ECM. Or I mean, there may be a case where maybe you want to use both. I don't know. But again, you can only you can only use the brace token once. So you would have to choose, which brace token you would want to spend. But it's just the flexibility there. I mean, I've even seen cases where people bring thermal shields and ECM, thermal shield ECM, or ECM and early warning system, or early warning system and thermal shields. I've seen some people get creative with reinforced blast doors in ECM. I don't know. It's 2 defensive retrofits. Like, you can't go wrong on a Providence. Or again, if you're bringing the Dreadnought, you can slap that on there and then take ECM or thermal shields. It just depends on what play and what kind of style you're looking for. So it's just like it's a no-brainer. This is the upgrade everyone slaps on every single time because there's almost no reason not to slap that upgrade on. It is essentially the Avenger of its time. But I mean, like I said, for either version, you really can't go wrong. The only time where maybe I don't want Invincible is if I am running some kind of like Fleet Command Providence carrier, where if that's kind of where its main duty is trying to get fleet commands out. But even like, I mean, look, if you bring two defensive retrofits, we're gonna say this one and that one, then I almost always am taking like Jedi hostage on there because if you're shooting me, then you're getting raid tokens. And if you're using somebody like TF or Dooku, or I mean, you can still. It's just like you're shooting me, I'm giving you raid tokens. Like it's it's pretty fantastic. And again, if they want to get rid of Jedi hostage, they have to discard a squadron dial, which if it's a command one ship getting up in your face and doing that, that's one thing. Usually it's going to die in the process, but maybe it accomplishes that goal. I don't know. It's a tough ship. And but where you can then start getting into danger is that because you have all these upgrade slots, then you are slapping so many upgrades on it. It is so prohibitively expensive, you will not be able to build out the rest of your fleet. Like, let's say for whatever reason, your commander's on there. Let's go ahead and put TF on there. We'll throw on. Usually it's Rune or Tykes. We'll say Tykes. You know what? Not even Tykes. It would be Watt. Let's be honest with ourselves. It'd be Watt. We'll say there's external racks on there, and then PDIC, because why not? Turbo laser slot, sure. Let's do what, LTT or XI7s? We'll say LTT for giggles. We won't even worry about the offensive retrofit. Although if you wanted to make it even more like punch things in the face, you could put like B2s on there or something. But we're not going to worry about any of these right now. But yeah, you could do something like this. And that's 171 points. That is such an expensive ship if you lose it. Again, if you're gonna rack up points on that right there, you got to be bringing Wat Tambor so you can suck shields off all the other ships that are around you to keep pumping up the shields on this ship because it is gonna get I mean, 200 points right off the bat almost, or 170. That is a what's the MOV chart? Like that's a 7 or an 8 like immediately if they just blow that up. So you know there's pros and cons to Christmas treeing like that, but it's also Providence. They're tanky, they're pretty tough. Again, if you're using Watt on there, so yeah, I think I've already talked long enough about Invincible. Like there's not anything super crazy going on with it. One thing I do want to mention about Invincible though is that just like with Minister Tua, is if you have that extra defensive retrofit upgrade equipped, if something comes along and happens to make you discard Invincible, it does not take off the other defensive retrofit you put on. It doesn't automatically remove that card because cards are equipped in fleet building, and removing one doesn't automatically remove the other card that's equipped unless something specifically states that it's doing that. So, same thing as it states for Minister Tua's FAQ, is it follows that. So that's Invincible. Great upgrade card. I mean, like I said, you pretty much see it. If you're bringing a Providence, you almost always see this upgrade slapped on there, especially if it's the Dreadnought version. But let me know where you've seen it, or maybe not seen it, or like I said, I don't see a whole lot of situations where you're not tagging this along unless you're bringing just a carrier and you just want to save 5 points because you already have the retrofit. But appreciate you watching, and we're coming up on Adepticon in March. That has been busy, busy, busy for me, doing lots of back end work. I'll be working on getting some typos up on the event packets, but otherwise, super excited for it. Excited to meet more people, and I got hopefully some news coming up for that. Nothing I can talk about, not anything crazy. More just like I want to talk about like who's going to be streaming it, like what kind of resources we're putting into it, things of that nature. But again, nothing, not talking for Asmodee or AMG, just talking about the stuff that Adepticon is doing. But not quite ready, not quite there yet. Appreciate you watching the video, and I'll catch you next time. Quick shout out to the sponsors of the channel. Firstly, to Otherworld Events. Regardless if you're needing assistance for event managing, planning, organizing, how to even start, or just need specific ideas for what it is you're doing that you already have a plan for, other world events can help you out. Second, to Admiral Tater's Ship Shop. Admiral Tater's Ship Shop, while specializing in Star Wars Armada miniature items, also has X-Wing and Legion items. If you're looking to really get some great looking acrylics on the table, whether it be holders for your upgrade cards or tokens or acrylic tokens, and most importantly, you just want a perfect range ruler with no flaws or errors in it that's going to give you exact measurements every time, highly recommend Admiral Tater. It's the range rulers I use at tournaments. I know they're cut perfectly, they're going to range perfectly, and I'm going to get that best measurement every single time. Also, just look at everything they have available.